Hello, mini makers. So today we're going to be making a Japanese feudal Japan fish carrier. I was looking at old photos and saw that, traveling salesmen liked to carry fish to sell, like goldfish, and they would keep them in these little little cylindrical box stung things. And I'm like, oh, I want to make that. Let's see. It's good for a diorama for a big open city. If you have a fish carrier character, good for them, or just as like basing stuff for a base. If you want to make interesting bases, you can do that as well. So I guess I'm going to begin with the cylinder. So I'll probably make it 8, maybe 10 millimeters, and then maybe make this 3. Okay, something like that. Side of the cylinder, using Control A. So now I'm just gonna take this, inset this face here, and then extrude it down. Gonna say it right there-ish. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take every other one of these edges here, there, every other one. So I just do a couple and then do shift. So I can just alt click them like that. And then after I select 2, I can just do Control Shift Plus to glide the rest of them. I glide the outside, but I don't want to glide more than the outside. I want to glide the whole thing. So I'm just going to do it manually. I always remember and then forget how to glab all these automatically. So I just doing them manually now. And then I'm going to bevel these edges by doing Control B. Like that. And then I'm just going to extrude them into themselves. That. So I basically hit E to extrude, then hit right click to cancel. And then I just used Alt S to scale them in a particular, to scale them into themselves. The other one? Okay, that's fine. Then we have this this basket here. Okay, yep, that's fine. So we have this basket here. I'm gonna color them. Yeah. See how this looks. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of subdivide the surfaces on this basket here. It's gonna look kind of messed up, but that's fine because I'll just move this down just a little bit and then inset this bottom face, then add an edge loop across here. And then I'll do the same thing for the top. And then I'll do the same thing for the top here on both sides. Okay, there we go. Now it's looking a little bit more like this. So what I could do is I could just grab these. Just grab all these faces here and maybe increase their medium crease some. Get rid of these middle ones here. If I can just I just control click these. And then that should be it. Let's see if I can increase these. And look a little bit more like wood. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this portion here, hide that for a second, get all these edges down here and down slightly, and then I'll unhide everything, and then move this edge south or down in the Z dimension. Add another edge loop, because why not? Okay, so now it's looking a lot more like this wood here. A little bit better of a look, so you can paint the inside or whatever. I possibly made the bevels too big, but I think I like it this way because at least it'll show up and give you some space to mess with on the when you actually print it out and are able to paint it. So I'm gonna do a couple things here. So I'm gonna just Shift D and then separate that face by selection, and that face here this face here is going to be our water. So we're gonna name that water. And this is gonna serve as our water. Gonna what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to get rid of this mean crease. Then I'm going to extrude it south or down a little bit in the Z dimension. Then I'm just gonna inset the top and bottom face. There you go. So I'm gonna sculpt this in sculpt mode to make it look a little bit more like water, but that's gonna happen slightly later, not right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these faces here, and then I am probably just going to extrude these straight up. Yeah, why not? I'm going to extrude these straight up here, like that. And then I'm going to add some edge loops. This like it is on the picture, and then I'm going to exclude them again a little bit, scale them in their individual origins like that, and then I'm going to exclude them again to give this little look there. And everything's probably too tall, so I'll probably just move everything down a little bit. That. Okay, I like how that looks. Probably gonna down a little bit. I'm probably gonna get rid of these edge loops. I mean, these cleats here, and I'm gonna get rid of the cleats here. Also going to merge by distance. Just these up here. So I'm going to merge this by distance. Okay, so now we have this portion here. These are also probably too tall, so I'll make them a bit shorter there. And then I'll just take this top face here, get rid of the medium cleats as well. Just take this portion in the middle here, this edge, squeeze it a little bit to there. Then maybe add some edge loops. There we go. Add some of these here. Makes them a lot more straight. How does it look? I think I'll leave it the way it was. Like that. So this is at that portion here. The next thing we're going to do is just join this middle portion, which I will do by just creating a cube in the middle here. Bring it up to about there. Shrinking it a little bit. Okay. And then I mirrored that across the X and Y axis, or just the X axis. Lift this up just a little bit. Add another edge loop here to serve as this portion. Just gonna take this and extrude it down. I'm gonna move this a little bit. Like that. Okay, so that looks good. Gonna make it a little bit narrower, like there. Okay, then we're gonna subdivide some surfaces. And then we're gonna add some edge loops. And then we're gonna scale them in the Y dimension. So there we go. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this up a little bit more, so it has a little bit more of that bend. You can also just move this a little bit, so it has the bend there. We're gonna add another edge loop here, another edge loop here. Give it more of that defined little bend. That's good. And then we're gonna go into hard ops here, box cutter. And then we're just gonna add some holes. So it happens because subdivide surface is happening first. Yeah, then we're gonna have to shade this flat, and then we're gonna have to take the cutter and shade this flat as well. Then we're gonna have to flat, take the cutter, shade flat. I think we're gonna have to move the Boolean last. There we go. So now that we moved the Boolean last, If we, nope. We can overlay this boolean, so we're just gonna do overlay. Good. And then we're going to change the axis. There. And I think we're just gonna collect that there, and then we're just gonna mess with it in here. Put over a little bit, put down a little bit. And then we're gonna go into this guard thing and we're going to move the boolean is last. Maybe move the mirror to last. And then put the mirror has to be last. If not, it won't do the boolean. Which this doesn't make any sense, like, because it should mirror first. Should mirror first, then boolean. When we go all the way down. And then we do the boolean before subdivide. Except subdivision. Maybe. I think it may be because it's merging. Flipping. I actually don't know. I don't really. Oh, bisect? So then what I'll just do is I'll just mirror this. Fine. I'll just mirror this across the this thing here. Perfect. And hide them. That's our middle portion there. Probably make I'll probably mess with the cutters away a little bit more. Something like that. To follow the thing a little bit. Yeah. Follow the angle a little bit more. And then we can go back into the overlay and mess with it a little bit more, like that. There we go. All right, perfect. So that's our little top part here. So now we're only missing a couple little pieces. Well, not more than we're missing more than a couple little pieces, but we're missing the loop here. We're missing some loop here. We're missing the portion that comes out here. And then we're missing the fish in the middle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make all those things appear. So the first thing we'll do is start with the loop. So we'll just add a circle. This up in the Z dimension, then we'll add a curve. Okay, perfect. And then for the circle, we'll just add the screw modifier in the Y dimension. Make the circle a little smaller. Then we will take the circle here, add a curve modifier to the perfect, and then we'll just increase the screw a little bit, and then we got to make sure that the curve is in the Y, and we have our should have our curve here. So now we'll just So this is one of our loops that we're gonna do. This is gonna be our loop that's used for this portion. And just iterate it a couple times. And then we make the actual circle a bit smaller. And so we have a little bit better of a loop. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Just a little bit smaller. And then instead of doing that type of curve, we'll do a curved circle. And then we'll just, there we go, opposite that curve. So now we have a circle to curve with. Okay. Then we'll just make this bigger. Then we'll iterate it a couple times. There we go. And then we'll just mess with the size a little bit until we get to line up, kind of. Okay, perfect. So this is our slope. It's a bit big, so we'll just go into the curve here, sorry, the circle, make it smaller, and then by increasing the screw or decreasing the screw size, there we go. We want something like that. Bunch of iterations. And then we just make it smaller. There we go. That's good. Then we'll just take this and the curve. So I'm going in and out of X-Play mode by just hitting Alt Z. So now that we selected both, we can just Shift D to duplicate, move it down, and there we go. We could also overlay it, move this a little bit higher. Just a little bit higher. Then let's see if we can overlay this in the X dimension. Perfect. So we want to make sure that there we go. We want to make sure that everything kind of intersects because we're going to go to 3D print this. When we go to 3D print this, we're going to want to see that. Okay. So, ooh, I like how the white lobes look, but I think those are more ceremonial in color. We just want to make this a very kind of traditionally. There we go. It's already starting to look pretty good. As you model more, as you do more modeling, things just start kind of shooting at you as like, oh, this is a good design of a thing. This thing looks good. I want to make this good looking thing. And that's what I'm doing right now. Are they going to take both of these? Move them down a little bit. I have these two. Give them 0, please. And then add. And then I'm gonna add a edge loop here. Because it does look like they come Be underneath. I know. I'm trying to make that like look like a sharp corner, but I'm not liking the way it's looking. And I think that's because this part, oh wait, what am I talking about? It's gonna all be covered by a envelope. Sometimes you mess with a line and then you forget that nobody's gonna see the part that you really are worrying about. So what we'll do here is we'll just take one of these slopes and their associated curve. Take the slope and associated curve. Okay. Then we're going to make these smaller here. Gonna move them over. We're gonna go ahead and make the circle bigger. The actual circle. We're gonna get them again. And I kind of move it around here. With this DLA, so it's not so much in the Y. Like that. Maybe even so they overlap. And then we're going to take our circle, make them bigger. And then we're going to reduce the iteration count. Reduce the screw. Maybe take the circle here. Well, it's got to do with the circle itself. So if we make this circle, oh, I see why. You just convert scale. There we go. Then we take the circle and we kind of make them overlap with each other. Then we take the circle itself, scale it in the Y dimension. Does that look due to it? Nope. Scale it in the X dimension. Nope. Make it bigger. Maybe we have to. I always hate when this happens. Full. There we go. So it was the scale of the curve that was kind of making it look a little bit off. Now we can reduce the iterations of this. A few of them. Make this smaller again. Or make it bigger. Okay, and then we just do this glue where it is there. Add some iterations. Take both of them. In the X. Or maybe I'll just take the screw. Nope, gotta do both of them. And the circle. Then in the Y, that, and then maybe confirm the scale here. And then reduce the glue again. Circle. Looks more like slope again. Okay, and then we can increase the blues again, or something like that. Okay, that's better. And then we move it over the X. I think that works. Then now we just hit circle, make it smaller. Leave it big, take off the iterations, or take off the screw. Something like that. There we go. And the Y slightly. And then everything but the S. Everything but the S. Everything but the Y. Everything but the X. Nope. Just want to make them a little bit bigger. They know they may have a hard time showing up on the actual model when I print it, but we'll do that for now. We don't want them to overlap. Okay, so now that we have that, we can mirror this across the, now that we have that, we mirror this across the X. Bucket in the middle. There we go. Now it's on both sides. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. Let's just add these little portions here. It's gonna be pretty easy. We can just add a cube. Active here. This over. Make it over. Move it over. Narrow it a little bit in the Y. Increase it in the X. And then we can add some bevel to this top loop. Gonna from scale. Add some bevels here. Okay, that's that portion. And then we can once again just mirror this over the, there we go. Now that we've got that mirrored. Okay, so now we just gotta move the slope so they have this squiggly portion over the, this part. So I'll just take this slope that I made earlier, move it down to a place that I kind of like it, probably move it to here, and then just start manipulating the heck out of the, start manipulating the heck out of this curve here. Gonna do one of these, and I'm gonna extrude it another vertice there. Gonna move this down a little bit. I mean, yeah, we just kind of mess with it until you like how it looks. I want it to go like that. And just move that going into here. Into the envelope. I have a tendency to exaggerate, and I also have a tendency to put like real life printing concerns over like aesthetic design. So I'm gonna put this like there, so it's actually like in it. It's actually like connected to it, like that. So I don't like having bits that hang because that gets annoying when you have to 3D print them. And then we're gonna just take this over like that. Then we're gonna curve it here across the top. Maybe across the bottom like that. That partially covers one of the holes. And then I'm going to include another curve portion like that. And then I'm going to push this up and around this. Just keep messing with it until you find the way you like it. And then I'm going to try to get these mirrored so that they mirror okay. I'm gonna do that now. Mirror over the cube. That. And then I'm gonna try to just join them together. Add another iteration. Go back, add another iteration. Okay, so it's actually the... And I can just physically connect these 2 points here. Yeah, and I'll join those together manually. So I like to make sure that they're touching, but I don't like it when they're like too embedded. Okay. So I'll really mess with that bottom portion to really get it cleaned up. Okay, so this is the top of our loop part. Got the holes. So now we only really gonna add the water. That's what this was for. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some. It's gonna make this blue. So we know it's water. Or maybe like this color. Okay, so that's water. And then we're gonna draw make some goldfish. Not draw them, but we're gonna make some goldfish. And the way we're gonna do that is in sculpt mode. So I'm just gonna go straight into sculpt mode. Add a circle. Then I'm gonna go sculpt mode like this. Okay, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to subdivide surfaces 1. And this is all gonna be top down. So I have a picture of a goldfish here that I'm looking at. Where is it? Here's a picture of goldfish that I have up. So then we're just gonna mess with the general shape of it. So it's kind of like this. Got the this one to device services. Gonna rotate it on the Y here. Perfect. So it kind of has this shape here. The top is kind of even. And they're all gonna be facing up or facing the same way. So like we're gonna see top down, so we don't have to really make the perfect looking goldfish. So something like that. Do that, and then we just take this here, and then we sculpt that in. We just want the general shape right now, like that, and then we take this here, and then we just move it down a little bit. That's how I want my goldfish to kind of look like. And then we'll just add another one for the head. We'll add another one for the head. We'll kind of make it look in a similar fashion. So I divide it once. Like this. And then we'll have the fins, which I'll probably just... Yeah, I'll just get a cube here. These. And just kind of move it around a little bit. Until we get kind of what we want in our fin. Something like that. Something like this. That's a fin. Probably bring this in a little bit. Subdivide surfaces on this one. I mean, honestly, the modeling isn't scary. Ooh, okay. Modeling's not really scary. It's sorry, sculpting isn't scary. So just if you want to do it but you feel intimidated, just do it a bunch and then you'll see how easy it is, and then you'll be like, why did I not do this for all those years or those months or however long you haven't been modeling for, sculpting for. Okay, this is just to get a very, very broad fin shape. So then we're just gonna keep it like that, and then we're just gonna do the same thing for the bottom part of the goldfish down here, something like that. And we're gonna be looking at them top down, so I still don't know how I want to do the top fin. I may just not put it in at all. I may just leave them out, the top fin. I'm probably gonna leave the top fin out, just for ease of drawing or painting later, and also plinting. I'm gonna add a couple of these edge loops, and then I'm just gonna start manipulating. Okay. So we're gonna take this one all the way out here. Oh, and I'm just gonna delete this entire half. Gonna mirror this and make sure that clipping is turned on. Okay, perfect. So now we're just going to take some of these, get our general shape going on here. Get a general shape. Add a little bit more subdivision loops. Something like that. Probably pull this out a little bit more. Just in the Y dimension. Something like that. Why not? Just gonna scale it in the Z dimension a little bit. There we go. Once again, this is all gonna be top down. So like, it's not too important. This is one of the very, very rare times with 3D modeling. You can just worry on one perspective. Okay, and these are the eyes of the goldfish. Something like that. Mirror them across the head. That. And mirror this. And that's our goldfish. Probably make this body a little bit longer, or move the head up. Yeah. Okay, so that's our goldfish. Pretty simple. And now we can get to the actual modeling of it all. I'm gonna make this tail bigger. There we go. There we go. We have our big tail here. So now we'll start with the body. So we go scope mode, cross the, and confirm scale, cross the x-axis, add some topology, dynamic topology, start small, set your length to 0. It's way too few. Maybe set it to 5. It's also probably too little. So 10. Okay, that's probably good enough. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to add some geometry over the entire body, smooth that out. A little bit. Like that. I'm gonna add a little bit more geometry because we're gonna try to do a very basic fish scale pattern here, all using just using your regular tools here. We're just gonna be drawing it. Okay, so we have our goldfish here. Okay, and then we're just going to probably gonna merge the head or union the head. The Boolean union with the body. And then we're gonna click on the body here, delete it, or just over the head. Okay, and then we're going to make the head and the neck connected. Like that. I'm gonna add some geometry here. Again, doing everything over the x-axis. There we go. Then we're gonna use our glab tool to kind of make sure that this is in line with itself. Like you kind of go in a little bit here. Okay, so now we're gonna add our clay slips tool to give it a little bit more volume there. I'm gonna smooth that out. Then we're gonna go back to our snake hook tool. Whole thing over like this. Smooth. Add some more geometry here. smooth. And then we're probably just gonna move the entire head down just a little bit. Okay, and then we're gonna move the eyes there-ish. There-ish. Okay. And then we're gonna, that looks fine. So then we're gonna mess with the fins next. To do that, we can just apply the subdivide surfaces from scale. Use dynamic topology. It gets rid of the fin while you're sculpting, which is fine. That's not important. We're gonna put 0.2. We're gonna 2. See if that's too much. That's way too little. And we're probably gonna go to 15, or yeah, 15. Okay. There we go. Add some geometry there. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to go to dynamic topology. Gonna smooth that out a little bit. Then we're gonna grab our snake hook tool, move this completely in so it looks like it's part of it. Probably gonna make this a little bit thinner there. That. Go back here. Then we're gonna literally just mess with the general shape of this using the snake hook tool. And we're gonna do it in the Y, in the Z. Scale it in the Z. Yeah, there we go. Or mirror in the Z, I mean. We're gonna do this, move that out a little bit. Curves. I'm looking at a bunch of pictures of goldfish over here in my other screen. And this may be overkill. And it may not even be seen. But that's fine. We're gonna smooth this out like this. Do like that. Take that there. So there we go. Okay, so we're gonna do it one more time. Gonna go across it one more time like that. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to use our inflate tool. Or we're just gonna use a blob brush and go over the edges a little bit to make them stand out a little bit more. And I kind of want to give them a little bit more depth. And then we're gonna smooth them down a little bit, and then we can go back and reinforce. Do like this. Okay. Okay. So we're going to just give these a color. Okay. And we're gonna do the same thing down here. And then we are going to go ahead and pretty much just do the same thing down here. Let me apply the mirror first. Same thing. Just go ahead, add some topology, or not topology, add some vertices plus the X and Y. Okay. So now what we can do is we can just smooth it a little bit. Like this. Go just a little bit. Manipulate the tail slightly. Like these like flat areas. Goldfish tails are weird. Okay, we're just gonna have that. Then we're gonna give it our some of these. You get them a little more distance from each other. A lot of curve. Okay. Like this. Okay. Just gonna mess with some stuff a little bit here. Okay. That's fine with me. And then we're just gonna union the eyes to the head. Fly. Those eyes. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing. Add some texture here. Then we're going to... I don't often do what I'm doing, just sculpting one dimension. It's kind of hard, but I'm gonna do here is I'm going to add a mask. So it differentiates the eyeball from the eyelid. Like that. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of pull this part up. That. Move it around a little bit. And then I'm gonna go zoom in a little bit here. Make this a bit smaller. And add these zones here. Okay. Add these zones here. Move them out a little bit. Again, we're just going for a top-down view. So it doesn't have to be that specific. That. Something like that. Add some more geometry there. Smooth it a little bit more. And then probably add these little ridges on the inside too. And that should get us pretty close to a goldfish. From top down, looks like a goldfish. Let me just grab all my goldfish pieces. Let me just hide this for a second. Hide this here so I can grab my goldfish. Move them up. Bit of the hide. And then that kind of looks like a goldfish. So we're gonna go back here, and then we're gonna take our, probably something to do with the head a little bit, move the head a little bit forward. Kind of give it one of these. Like that. And now that's a goldfish. Right there. That's goldfish. Okay. Now we're just gonna shrink them all. And then we're going to go into our the music is, it's all from this person called TPR. They do a bunch of stuff like Fisherman's Horizon, Final Fantasy VII, Octopath Traveler. This particular song is from Animal Crossing. But yeah, so we're just gonna grab these guys, make this goldfish smaller, and we're just gonna move them into the water here. And now, if you look at it from above, we have our goldfish in the water. So I'm going to just add a we're gonna call it a goldfish pattern here. It's gonna be a really simple goldfish pattern. Probably gonna start at the middle of the body, I think. Yeah. We're gonna start at the middle of the body here. We're gonna go to big, so like this. I'll do it with that stabilized slopes on. Yeah. Something like that. Probably go from the center out. And then again, the goldfish pattern here. That. A little bit more. That. Nope. Like this. And then we're just gonna go and light at the top of each one. Gonna really pronounce the goldfish pattern, the scale pattern there. And then we're gonna smooth it out some. I'm gonna smooth it here. Then we're gonna kind of just move this back here. That. I'm gonna smooth it a little bit more. And then that should be kind of it. Okay. So let's go back into our So what we're gonna do is probably just gonna pull those out a lot. Go into sideways mode here. Blows out quite a bit. And then we're just gonna smooth all of it. Gonna add some more geometry here. A little bit more smoothing there. We're gonna invert this. Okay, and that should be enough of a goldfish pattern. Pull it up. It's gonna take a little bit of time here so they get this goldfish pattern really making a lot of sense. Okay, maybe like that. But it does make sense like that. I'm just gonna give it a lot more vertices here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and smooth the portions. These portions here. And this is really why I don't ever do this just top down. It's really hard to really see it well. I think I'm gonna go look at it from the top again. And see how it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. Sometimes you just got to take a couple steps away from it to really see how it looks as someone who would be actually viewing this, because it is a miniature, so it doesn't have to be exactly spot on. Oftentimes, if you try to go for exact, it'll start looking weird. So there we go. That's our goldfish. Probably gonna give it a different color, like a more orangish color. Give these a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate this. Not yet. I'm gonna union everything together. Apply this here. And then I'm going to union the body to the fins. That. And then I'm going to go ahead and union the body to the bottom fin as well. Like this. Union to the bottom fin here. There we go. Now we can make these a bit smaller or a bit bigger. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and add a lattice. Get to the center here. Make sure it's covering the entire fish. And then we can add some resolution to the lattice. It's really just in the U and V, which is I think the X and Y. So then we take our fish, deform, lattice on the lattice here. And then if we move the lattice, we move the fish. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the fish and the lattice, duplicate them, and happily fish. Something like this. The head here. Take this part apart here. Move this part out. Gonna add another level of resolution. So I can kind of manipulate it a little bit better. Like that. Do the same thing with this fish. Kind of point him inward. He's swimming this way. And then I'm gonna kind of move him like this. Look at this. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the last fish. We're gonna move him around. Kind of like they're going in a circle here. The bad portion of his fins. That. Throw them in. That. And then we have our fish swimming in the water. They kind of look like the fish that you eat at like the fried fish you get. Let me see if I can make one like similar to that color. Here. Dark. And I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, let's make them just orange. Okay. Now these fish are swimming in the pond here. And then I'm just gonna mess with the water a little bit to give it some movement and motion. So I'll do that by just going ahead and going into sculpt mode, giving it some geometry. This. That. Too much. Damn. Nope. Yeah. So see how we went to 200,000? That's way too many. So we can go to 15. That's better. And then we can go all the way down to 10. We can confirm scale and rotation. And then I'm going to do 10. We don't really need a lot of geometry here. All we're going to do is smooth out the sides and make it so that it looks like the fish are actually disturbing the water as they swim. So we'll take this here. There we go. I'll probably just make this bigger. Go like that. Put down a little bit. And then we're just gonna add a little bit of water marking. So like this is getting pushed out of the way. Way too strong and also way too big. Yeah. That's why. I'm gonna go into edit mode. Recalculate outside. So now we're doing pushing them up from the slate like this. So moving this way. Stuff's getting moved in this direction. This fish is moving this way. That's getting pushed in this direction like this. And then this fish is moving stuff here. And also back here. Gonna hide this for a second. Then we're gonna get our water back unhidden. There we go. And we're gonna move this one here like this. That. And then this last fish is also gonna move stuff in this direction as well. This. Yeah, I mean, most things I've done a lot of scenes. So most things usually take me an hour or two. I try not to do something that take me 4 or 5 hours, just because that's not really what I don't like, really going into hyper detail. And a lot of things that take a bunch of time are coloring and texturing, like you'd have for video games. But if you're just making a black and white scene, you can kind of get it done in an hour and a half. So we're just gonna keep doing this. Gonna kind of keep making the water come up and come back out. The so-called water. So it kind of looks like the water is moving, it's alive. And then it'll start looking a lot more like water when I start smoothing it. And then when I also turn on the color again, it'll also probably look a little bit more like water too. So, like this. Want to make so the waves are kind of hitting each other. And I'm trying to do this in like a style from like Feudal Japan. So it wouldn't have too many details, too many strong details. A little bit more depth to the water. Then we're just gonna smooth this out on a small smoothness, or weak smoothness. 0.5. We're just gonna smooth it all out. Kind of weak smoothness here. And then we're gonna go back and add some more of these in the negative dimension. So it's just negative blob blush. There we go. Negative blob blush. And then now I'm going to confirm their lattices. And I'll just copy one with the lattice in case I want to add more small ones. Out of the way. So confirm their lattices. Hide the lattices. And then I'm just gonna kind of use the snake hook tool to kind of make it so that they're splashing a little bit more. Kind of push them into the water a little bit. Kind of push them out of the water a little bit. Kind of push this up out of the water. Push this into the water. Kind of want to make it so that they look like they're actually swimming. Grab this one, pull him up. But you do want to make sure that they're always kind of connected to each other. Get rid of this. Pull this one down into the water, out of the water, into the water with its head. Like this. And then we just do the same thing to the last one. Move his head more out of the water. And move this down. Out of the water here. Do the twist. This. Kind of flip this up like that. And then we can unhide everything, move this fish out of the way. Lattice is back. And there we go. Here's our little guys in water. I think that may be where I call it. It looks like all the things are complete. And we got to see how big these are. So 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters. I'll probably make them a little bit bigger. Let's scale by the individual origins. Set their origins to geometry. And then kind of move them. Move it down a little bit. Okay. And I think that is the end of the scene. I like where this ended up. So now it kind of looks like they're kind of in the water, kind of out of the water. But yeah, that's this feudal Japanese fish carrying container. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll call this a day. I'll probably have this also printed sometime later. And then I'll probably have it printed and then paint it, throw it on my Instagram. But thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.